will be in Iran before next anniversary of Republic Islamic Revolution. We are not fighting just with Islamic Republic. We are fighting against Islamic Revolution with all the thing inside. So book the ticket, guys. Book the ticket for Iran. I'm telling you, book the ticket for Iran. I hope the Yalda night will be in Iran. I hope. But what I promise you, Republic Islamic won't be exist in 44th years anniversary. And don't listen to people who want to make a credit. That stage is not from us. All of you are here. So many of you made this morning, night, evening. Now it's 3:30 in Iran. Yo, listen. The voice is coming from outside. Can you listen to this? Can you listen? It is 3:30. People are protesting. So don't talk about disappointment. Don't talk about kind of courage. We done. And we'll give you back your country. It is your right. It is my right. And don't think about who wanna be leader. Our leader is Nikasha Karami. My leader is a girl. All the girls tonight arrested. My leader is Hadis Najafi. My leader is any one of you which help us. You are leader. Your idea is leader. Secularism is our leader. Freedom is our leader. Justice is our leader. Yeah, I'm giving you back the mic. I talk too much. Please, anybody want to talk? And any one of you, if you want to ask a question about Iran, I'll be happy to explain.
Merci. Thank you, Ahmad John. Very inspiring words. We're proud to have you in this room. You always have priority to come up and talk. And we deeply, deeply appreciate your sacrifices and everybody else in Iran. And we are all constantly thinking and trying to come up with new ways to support you guys over there, to the point of desperation, right? And I'm not speaking for myself here. I know that for a fact. Everybody in this room will jump at every opportunity and sacrifice to any extent to be able to support you guys. So we're with you. And if you need anything, always come here. We always appreciate your input and feedback and updates from inside Iran. Payande Iran.
Bagu, the mic is yours, dear.
Except you, Ahmad, not you. If they haven't informed, there is a plan for tomorrow, which they've been talking in another room, from Hamadan to south. Basically, Hamadan is almost middle of Iran. They have called all the Bakhtiaris. Is not just one city. It's what they said is gonna be really huge. And basically, they said even they're gonna come out armed. But this is a Bakhtiari or Lori traditions. When somebody pass away, or when somebody, even in the weddings, they have I don't know how you call it, it's like a free shooting to the sky. It's the way of celebration and the way of you say goodbye as well. And they've been threatening them, if you come armed out, regime has threatened these people. if you come arm out, you should be waiting for the really bad, what you call it, when you meet somebody. It's not gonna be easy. Which they explain in the other room. Sistan and Baluchistan has said we're gonna back you up, and Kurdistan has said also. They have small group leaders. It is really amazing how they are planning and how they got so far. They are really good. I'm so proud of them when they talk. They talk really strong. There were groups of people, the leaders of people from each side of Iran. And they were coming, they talked as one. And they said, we're gonna back you up. They're gonna walk from city to city. It is amazing. I'm not gonna go to their details plan because each of them had their own plans, but it's not gonna be one city. And they're gonna, at 10 o'clock, it's gonna be Kian's funeral, and it's gonna be in the cemetery. They have changed the Aylar's funeral from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock because they said the Tabriz has already supplies are in the street and they are covering and closing the streets to the graveyard, to the cemetery. So people are going from now out. It is I say amazing because of their unity, and they become one. It feels absolutely fantastic. At the same time, they know they are like we are going to die, and they are so ready for it. And these people are not old. They haven't lived half of their life yet. Oh, I can say almost all of them are under 30. It hurts somehow, but on the other hand, I'm so proud of them. But I believe that was Johnny said is gonna wake Tabriz up. I think Johnny, they are pissed off. They passed the waking up. And Khurramabad, lower people and Khurramabad these people, they have traditions. You can't just kill a child there. And I think tomorrow, as they said, is gonna be hell. It's really gonna be hell.
It will be hell.
And even then, Ahmad, please do not open your mic. I'm trying to be really polite to you. Keep the heart for yourself.
Yes, Ahmed Agha, please don't interrupt anyone while they're speaking or you will be removed from the stage for your inability to be respectful. Begujan, go ahead, sorry.
Thanks, Alojo. Anyway, they changed the Aylas and another guys, I forgot his name, to the 8 o'clock. And they're gonna walk. There is a city in Sahan, close to Tabriz. It's like with the car, it's like 1 hour. If somebody knows around the Azerbaijan area, they have a really nice, there's a really famous hotel there, and it's amazing. So basically, people said they're gonna walk from Shabestar, Sahand, all to Tabriz to this funeral place. I don't know how it's gonna be, but I hope it's gonna be the 0 casualty. That's my dream. I'm a dreamer, but I hope they can manage it with the less casualty as possible. It doesn't look nice, but I'm so proud of them. They managed it fantastically. Yeah, that's all I have.
I hope that with you, Begujan. I wrap my hope with you around that. And I hear the hurt in your voice. And if I could give you a hug right now, I would. Haha.
Thanks, darling. And say one thing. That's a fucking, sorry, I'm swearing, stupid things. They've been trying this stealing the bodies from the hospital, Kosar Hospital in San Andaj, because to stop the courts to go to a funeral place, to the graveyard. And I don't know if anybody saw Kian's body or if you have talked about it. They kept the body in the house and put the boy in the ice because they do not want the body to be taken by Sepah. I mean, how the fuck? How much pain a mother and father, a family needs to go through to keep a body of a 10-year-old child, because you can't even know if you leave it there, you can get it back. I mean, how stupid it is. How ridiculous it is. You can't even leave a dead body to them. So,
There's absolutely not a single thing to apologize for.
As in the French Revolution, dear Bigot, they will for their foibles. I assure you, it will come swiftly and in due course. So it will happen. The tide is in favor of the masses of people that are accumulating, and I think it is absolutely horrific, tragic, but that repugnant, repulsive regime will pardon my onomatopoeia, but I just had to. But I just want you to know that I am just so torn by your sadness, and I empathize and I feel your pain. That's all I have to say.
being messaged about it being silent, but silence is healing sometimes, and it's okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
We're having a moment of silence.
Oh, is it? I thought I just literally had to walk in and I didn't realize that was supposed to be a moment.
Okay. No
I thought
problem.
it was accidentally a moment of silence. Sorry.
It was a very fluid moment of silence. No need to apologize.
Oh, sure. Sorry. I'm on a business trip and it was a little bit difficult to manage the time, so I apologize for my little bit of an absence in the past day.
No problem. I think that I am gonna play some songs, if that's okay, just a couple. Yeah, so I'm pulling something up.
May you give me courtesy?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. What's up?
Give you some information about tomorrow. All
What?
the
Ahmed, you're breaking up. What did you say?
tomorrow Kokiluya Boyara all of the city big crowd. Some people don't think there is no leader. There are leader. Yes, some of us have some connection together. Tomorrow Death Dashed and some another cities of Kokiluya or Charmahal, Bakhtiyari Soil, Charmahal. It will be so crowd also. And tomorrow from Azerbaijan also they announced a bigger and a huge demonstration to come. So have a good night, guys. Again, I'm telling you, and the Begujan, I'm deeply sorry. I couldn't find your account. I had a bug. I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Never come back in interrupt your voice. I'm so sorry. Have a good night, guys. Thank you because every time you give me time, and I can at least little bit empty my heart. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ahmed. If you want to ask Parisa, because I was only gonna play music just to kind of. It seemed like people weren't in the talking mood, so I was gonna kind of play background music. But if you want to ask and see, I saw your message. Do you want to ask?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm just about to catch up a little bit about some of the updates from yesterday. If anyone can update me from Hossein Ronavi to see our journalist who was in bad condition and at the hospital, and they were trying to get him some treatment. If there's an update on that he can update me, I would much appreciate it. At the same time, I had heard that unfortunately the government, and this is something that came from Iran, the personal connections that we had, that apparently some of the morgues are getting emptied and the families are going to pick up their bodies, but unfortunately the bodies are taken away from the morgue. So it seems that this is the government job. We don't really know why to some extent, and it's been incredibly difficult. So if there is an update on that, or more either just verifications of why this is happening, And if you're at a space where you can speak, please let me know. Thank you.
Can I add something here?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Parisa John, I think one of the main reasons that they're doing that is just trying to, because they are claiming that they're not using the actual guns with the bullet towards the protesters and all these bodies, because they do have the evidence in them. So they're trying their best just to pick up as many as they can. And those that they cannot reach to, they're going to blame it on some terrorist attack. And the second reason for that is because they want to actually take the bodies into a different location. So in order just to not just to avoid any kind of a protest during the burial time and funeral. So these are the two main reasons, and it's like they're doing that. Regarding Luna, I don't know, but I just wanted to say something before you guys are talking about this revolution, and everybody knows now, by far, this is the hardest revolution is going to be written in the history book, due to this much of conspiracy and amount of the money that government has spent all over the world, and also the non-cooperation of foreign countries. The government has convinced many countries that they better be in power, and it's like the people of Iran are the only power that is trying to demolish a building that it's been been protected by so many different pillars. And one thing that is very important that I think that everyone's talking about, oh, no one is going to back off or back in. I want to say this is beyond the revolution. This is, I think it's just a renaissance. And this is just, when you look at it, it's like I have never seen so much understanding and enlightenment within the society of Iran, within Iran. Like, if 5 months ago, a girl wanted to go out in Tehran city, dressing somehow loose, walking on the street, she would have been, like a lot of cars would have been stopping, asking her, hey, can I give you a ride, baby, what's up? All those things that was usual. And usually, when they come home, they're like, oh my God, we've been, I'm so fed up and tired of all these things. But nowadays, girls, without even the veil, they go out and they are being so respected. It's like a jump of the state of mind has been shifted, and it's bigger than a revolution. Like there was a gentleman over here, as a professor, I think, a few weeks ago, he was talking about the revolution textbook. So in the textbook, there's so many certain things has to be in place for a revolution to happen. But I think those textbooks are for those kind of revolution that is the people of a society that don't like certain things or certain governments, so they're going to change it by revolting and by protesting. So that kind of revolution is not happening in Iran. That's beyond that. That's just jump of there is a real shift of the mind. Even for us who are not in Tehran or who are not in Iran, and all of a sudden everybody is looking at everybody differently. It's like all those differences, all those things as an identity, as a difference, as whatever it was within the Persian community is kind of dissipated. And it's dissipating, of course, and it's going day by day. Things are changing within the people inside. And, this is definitely not a revolution. It would be a renaissance. this much of change. I mean, revolution is about certain changes. I mean, which is really materialistic more of the time. Like materially, we change something of a region, whether that material, if we call politics as a material of the way of a government, if we add them into material. But what I'm talking about is the way people see each other, the way the respect has. It's like something is born. It's a baby is coming out of the society, a new way of looking at things, a new way, not just because we want to get rid of something. It's this new way is getting rid of everything, it's changing it. It's like that's why all this. I'm telling you, this is by far the hardest revolution could ever anyone. I mean, think about it. I mean, I started reading all these revolutions, and you never see things like that. So many different forces are holding this government so tightly for it to not to fall down, and yet they can't do that. They can't achieve because of there is a certain level of understanding and certain level of desire that is actually asking for everything to be different. Like it's like a dried jungle all of a sudden has got a reason to just blossom overnight. It's like that's how I look at it. And back then I was talking to many of my friends about that, and we all kind of come to an agreement.
I wanted to respond to you, but my phone just rang. So if you can please either continue and then just give me a few minutes, or anyone else would like to join in, I will get back to you in a few minutes. But from now on, I can't hear until for the next few minutes because I have to take this phone call. Please go.
That's fine. That's fine. So just to wrap it up, this is the way I look at it. Is this? The people are becoming stronger from inside, from not because they have more guns or more freedom or less people, less police officer out there, or support from USA or support from anyone else. They're just becoming stronger. It's like some new energies, new thought, and the grace of the enlightenment has been touching them. And as the days are passing by, they become stronger, become less afraid, more brave. They are leaning towards more bravery. What I heard, and it's true, I have seen many girls, they go out before, if they saw a police, they would be so unhappy, they would be so afraid to be taken away to go with them, and they were afraid of their life. Now they don't. They're like so strong. They speak strongly to them. And this is one of the things that it gives me this notion and understanding and this energy to feel that this is a one way road, and that's it. And it's happening, and it's happening too soon. And it's so soon. Thank you so much for giving me this time.
I heard somebody asked about Hussein Ronaqi. Did I hear right before that you talked Farsi? Who was it?
Yes, Parisa was asking. I didn't know. I didn't have anything from this subject, but I had with the bodies. I explained.
Okay, then I wait for her to come back to the room.
Can I jump in for a few seconds, please, Sarah? Sarah? She's on the phone.
Please go ahead, Ali Abba.
Thank you. To respond to this revolution is different. Of course it's different. It's very much different because it's led by youngsters who have seen nothing but misery. They want a better life. Very simple. That's it. And what's more important, it's led by great women. symbol of justice is a woman. That's the difference. And this regime doesn't want to understand. To hell with them. They will make them understand. The way I brought up my children, for example, I never say no to them. Let them, because they will realize one day, or they did, and they have done, that they never ask for something unless they really want it. So you cannot stop the youngsters from having their own lives, their own method. You guide them only. You become a guide to them in life, but not the dominating on them what they should do, what they should wear, what they should eat. Let them develop their personalities. And the children, youngsters, I mean, in Iran, they have developed their personalities to an extraordinary level. I have nothing but great respect for these youngsters. They have reached maturity very, very early. And no country in the world you'll find mature children. That's the beauty about Iran. And they will succeed whether they like it or not, these retarded idiots. They will wake up. They don't want to wake up, let's put it this way. They will be removed from the power or from this authority, fake authority they created for themselves. This is not acceptable by the people. 500,000 mullahs in the streets, 500,000 I just heard. This is, where were they created? And what good are they to the society? Nothing. They don't go to the army, they don't pay taxes, they collect taxes only, without producing anything. All they do is they sit in these madrasas, so-called madrasas or hawza, and read some books and Quran. Fine. What science you'll produce? Nothing. What good you will be to the people? Nothing. So I'm not worried at all. On the contrary, every day they're going to increase and increase and increase until the big tsunami will come and wipe them out. Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Eric. Am I audible? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm just an American and don't know nearly as much as I would like about the situation, but I'm certainly in awe of people putting themselves at risk, demonstrating in such a forward way against such a repressive regime. I'd like to do a room about effective advocacy. What can a person in a country like the United States be doing, in such relative amazing safety to support the protesters? I'm a big fan of the work of a messaging expert named Anat Shankar Osorio. I commend to people's attention her podcast, Words to Win By, which is about how to frame conversations so that we move people to become active and effective. So if anyone wants to do a room with me designed for people not necessarily very smart about details of what's going on,
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, good afternoon. I'm looking for Elaine Chow.
Wrong number.
If you notice, there are over 450,000 people visited this room. If you like to, yes, sir. You can promote this room, and will save the energy of creating something from scratch. And as you notice, everybody speaks fluent English, and some are fluent in French, some are fluent in Italian, you name it. We've got all the languages. You got the United Nations here. So,
well, I'd certainly be happy to schedule a time and to do it in this room. And if someone could help me make sure that the agenda and the time and everything makes sense. Again, I'm an expert in election integrity in the United States and almost nothing else. So I wouldn't want to put my foot in it. But it does seem to me that there must be a lot that Americans and others around the world should be doing right now to support freedom. I mean, not that having a room like this isn't part of it, but it doesn't seem like everything we should do. Thanks, America.
No, that's Eric. We very much appreciate your visiting the room and to develop a room for that purpose. That's very much appreciated. There is a lot the international community is responsible really towards other people deprived from basic rights. When I say basic, absolute basic rights. The country, as you know, is in shambles. The economy is lousy. Education is terrible. Although it enjoys one of the most rich in culture and natural resources, geographical location, you name it, it has it all. Unfortunately, what they are in now was made by the international or by the Western world, let's put it clearly. So they have to pay back for their big mistake. So I recommend you promote this room to your friends and to your high-level people like you, good self, and you're most than welcome.
So,
thank you.
Your name is pronounced Ali?
Yes, sir.
So, Ali and others, just off like what folks already have thought of, what should a voter in New York City, like just an American, what kinds of things should concerned Americans, concerned Brits, whatever, what should we be doing to support the protesters? Making sure that the media, in one idea that occurs to me, is to write to the media and make sure that the plight of the protesters is being is kept front and center. I mean that's one thing. It doesn't seem useless. What do people feel is a useful thing for international people with no particular connection or knowledge, but a desire to help?
Most of the people in this room, they live in America. They are scattered all over the states. Take, for from New York to Canada to Los Angeles, Miami, you name it. They are very active, but another activity from your good self will always be useful, of course.
Are there physical protests, candle light, candle holding, things like that? Here in New York City, there's a famous Isaiah Wall that's like across the street from the UN. That protests are often, I guess, Iran doesn't have a trade mission because, or does it have a consulate, a mission to the UN that one could? I mean, are there already protests going on that I'm just not aware of? I did Google around a little bit day before yesterday.
There were big protests in Toronto, in Berlin, for example. That was a big one. London.
And Paris as well. There's a huge one as well.
Yes, sir. But the continuous build-up and creating more pressure on the regime, as you know, any regime with internal and external pressure, it will collapse. So we're very much hopeful that it will collapse sooner than later to save lives, really. They are unnecessarily, like yesterday, a 10-year-old boy was killed. 10 years old, that's all. Imagine. This is what they are facing, unfortunately.
So tragic.
This is nothing compared. We don't know what they've done. There are so many people have disappeared over these years, and an extremely rich country with such line of poverty. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Everybody will be benefiting from a new Iran. They have all the resources available to them and extraordinary intelligent people. Extraordinary. Yesterday, 2 doctors were killed. 2 doctors, imagine. So we have to continue work on it, and if you can get hold of one of the moderators, like Sheila, she's in New York, I think. Are you, Sheila? Sheila, are you there?
I think she's in the phone or something, but there's a lot of millions of Iranian. We are 1 million in Los Angeles, just 1 million Iranian in Los Angeles. We have big demonstration in DC, about 40,000 people in DC by the White House.
If other New Yorkers were interested in doing even just a little candlelight thing for a few hours in front of the right place, and I mean, I would be willing to meet. I know it's cold here in November, but I would be willing to do it. Bundle up, I'm there.
Very kind of you, Eric. I fully respect and love your spirit.
Well, it's the least we can do, after all. This all these years of craziness, as I understand, in Iran, emanate originally, well, the post-colonial craziness, and then the overthrow of what's his name, Mossadegh? How is the name pronounced?
Yeah, you're right. It was a long time ago in the 60s.
But we're still seeing all the effects of the craziness. I mean, at least this is my very mild understanding of history. What you guys are suffering with is all in the shadow of overthrowing a democracy, and then all of this happened.
But that is a long time ago. The focus is what happened after 1979 when this animal, they got the power and they hostage the American people in the embassy for 144 days. After that, they went the British embassy, then went to Saudi embassy, then they blow up some kind of explosion in the Lebanon. They kill a lot of American Marine. They did a lot of roadside bombing in Iraq, and these are the terrorist state support, state terrorists, government terrorists. That is what we have to stop. That is the focus. It should be. Mossad was a long time ago. Right now, we have in the United States, we sit and talk about Kennedy. That is past tense. What it is in front of us, we talk about animalistic Islamofascism. Government is sitting over there and feeding all this proxy in the world and creating a chaos and a nightmare for people around the world. That is the focus right now. We need a help in order to expose it to the world, to get the support. For example, with our support, with our movement, we got the two big internet provider in Germany, and now they cannot censor the internet since last 2 days. And people from Iran, they can communicate better. Not as easy as but better than before. And this is the kind of stuff we want. They get the equipment from the Western European in order to suppress the people. Pellet gun, ammunition, tear gas, so on. So these are the stuff we have to stop, and they try to see where the supply is coming from and cut their financial support to dry them out. That is what we are looking for help. That's what we're looking for exposure, to pay attention. And we get very good attention now.
That sounds extremely valuable.
Yeah, but that was just
and pardon me if my ancient history is not the most important thing right now.
You are very nice, German, to come over here and asking the right question. But your knowledge was good. Yeah, his name was Mossadegh. Yeah, his name, they pronounced Mossadegh. It was in 60s. He came to United States, and they went to the railway, D.C. He came and he talked in the parliament, and it was in Senate, I believe, or he gave a big speech, and the United States people, they admire him. And after that, it just like he was giving too much fuel to the lefties and the Soviet Union parties, and they were just very close to topple the government, Iran, and the coup happened, or whatever military came, and they take over the country. Otherwise, it was one of these allies of the Soviet Union by that time. But in those kind of days, the Cold War is over. Right now, we are looking for this kind of millennium movement. And after this Khomeini movement, the terrorism start up. And then you could see Bin Laden and the other state terrorism like Afghanistan and so on. So they came to the power. Now you see like the people, Muslim in Boko Haram, somewhere in the Africa, Nigeria, they go hostage people. They just pattern, they learn from this movement. They learn and they get fuel, they get money and support from this kind of militia, religious militia, to get the power and to get whatever they want, the Sharia law or whatever they have, their disease dreams to be achieved. But this is the major swamp. If we dry this, the whole world is going to get benefit, and that is what we are looking for.
Okay, Mirza, I'm not agreeing with you that Mossadegh was ally of Soviet Union or Russia. That was not like that at all. That's your opinion.
I didn't say ally. I said in that umbrella, the lefties, as we today, was getting the power in order to just overthrowing getting the Iran joining the Soviet side. And that's what I said. Mossadegh was the most independent person and was the most patriot person ever. He was not the Soviet side. No, I was just trying to say it was just very shaky situation. They were getting the power to just pushing Iran in the Soviet side. That's what I meant.
Okay, then I misunderstood. He was one of the best we had ever in Iran, who loved Iran for Iran.
Yes, indeed.
For me, it's one of the great lessons that if you're a big, powerful country like the U.S. and you screw around, you don't know that you could create 80 years of shit. The Shah, the Sabah, and then the response, Islamofascism. I mean, you stick your fingers in the pie, and you can just make a huge mess, and it just goes on and on. Pardon my oversimplified worldview. That's my little understanding.
No, not at all, Eric. The mess has been done. It's now reached its ultimate level. And it's time to clean it and to clear it for the good of the area of the Middle East and the rest of the world. Europe and Africa, you name it, US will benefit from a more stable Iran. It has, throughout history, it was a land of knowledge and land of giving, land of justice given to the other people. So we have to work on that. And these thugs reaching their end days, I think we can count their remaining days. They will go whether they like it or not. But with the help of the international communities, it will speed the removal of this regime. That's all. For them, they are gone, but we need to simply speed up the process so they leave sooner than later. Eric, you can, with greatest pleasure, invite your friends to come to the room. This room is 24 hours ongoing and 7 days a week. So you can come and at any time you'll find. Moderators will change every now and then or every few hours. But feel free to come in with your good friends. You're most welcome.
Thank you. You've been very welcome.
To changing the room, did anybody listen to Marie and Tehran's and Paris's interview yesterday?
I did. It was a beautiful discussion.
Sorry, who was it? I missed. I didn't.
Hi, Begu. It's Brooke.
Hi, darling. Do you wanna explain a little bit about it to everyone?
The replay is definitely available, but what I took away from it was a collective community that's been created in this room, and the conversation was very helpful about what makes an icon on Clubhouse and why they choose who they choose, and it was a nice conversation and a pass off from the Ukrainian efforts to the Iranian people. And I'm not sure if that was intended that way, but that's kind of what I took away from it as well. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
I did listen to half of it. I couldn't finish it, actually. My phone was buzzing all the time, and I wanted to check other news, and I was in and out. I wanted to listen to all of it. I have to sit patiently listen to all of it, but I hear a little bit that Tehran was saying, I am the icon, and I loved it. I love his like his confidence. I'm the icon, which was good. It put a smile on everyone's face. And they talked about icon. Why do you think they are the icon of the Clubhouse? It was really genuine and a nice interview. As much that short part that I've listened, I need to listen again. The whole interview.
What I found to be the biggest takeaway for me is how important each voice is on this stage and in this room. You were mentioned, Shamim, many others were mentioned. And I think that because of our dedication to being here, it helps with the moderators wanting to, well, obviously they already want to be here, but I just think it's impactful that we're all here. I know this has become like a relationship in my life because it has taken over my social circle, my daily activity. And I just think it's amazing that we're all here and we all, I mean, I can't say all, but majority of us want the same thing. So it was a good discussion for sure. I'll go get the link and post it in the chat for anyone that wants to listen.
Thank you. Please do. I didn't know I was mentioned, but that's so feel. Thank you. I don't know who was it, but that feels good. It really feels like a family. I did cry a lot today, and my partner was just like, if you cry one more time and if you talk about anything, this would be the last. You should close your phone, stop checking the news, stop crying. And I was just like, but I need to talk to my Clubhouse people. And he was just like, he gave me some not kind words, but kind words that I have to stop this. But I can't. I'm so used to these guys here, everybody here, and talking to them and just communication and discussions. Each time I come here, I hear something new or I learn something new from them. The way they treat each other, the way they treat people, the relationship we have in this room is complete. That was unknown for me. I never had this kind of I don't believe it even in the like a Clubhouse kind of closeness relationship, but I believe there is something between these people, and I have feelings for them, and I hope God bless them. They are putting their hearts in, at running a 24/7 a room is not at all easy, with different attitudes, different mentality from different part of the world. The level of our English is amazing. They love it. I think it is not an easy job. They are doing a really good job. I'm so glad I'm part of them.
Hi, ladies. It's good to see you all here. I try to just keep my profile here, even if I'm working or doing something that I can't even speak, but it's just to show my solidarity. And yeah, as you said, Begujun, it's not easy having a room, period. Whether it's 1 hour or 2 hours. Now just imagine 55 days of this, day and night across the globe. So they have really done a remarkable job. And there were a few things about the room today that to me were quite remarkable. One was when there was a guest on stage, and clearly everything in his mind was fake news. Like the little boy that I have on my profile, Keon, he was killed yesterday, and that was fake news. And Mahsa Amini's death is fake news. You know, everything's fake news. And of course, I think, you know, as we are humans, we have our emotions, and they run high. And most people kind of wanted him to get off the stage. And then Tehran came on and said, "No, you are welcome. You know, with a new Iran, we need to embrace all voices." And that was again a lesson for me, a real lesson in democracy. If we wish the voices of those that we don't agree with to be away, then that's not a democracy. Then you're creating the same hell that exists in Iran right now. So that was another learning moment. He's done that a few times in these past 55 days. And it's been powerful. The second moment of the day for me was also with our beloved Johnny, who's like me, only half Iranian, and his very, very British accent. And that somebody actually questioned him, like, you know, basically saying, "Who the hell are you to tell us Iranians what to do?" And it was such an impassioned reply from this Johnny. I was like, whoa. And at the end of it, this guy says, "Wow, you know, I'm sorry, you've sold me." I get it. But Johnny was so impassioned, saying, you know, first of all, he's half Iranian. He lived, you know, through part of the revolution and the Green Movement and all of that. So, and really to realize that all the moderators who come here on stage, nobody's getting paid. Nobody's getting anything out of it other than these friendships that we've all created. And yeah, I agree with Morning and Bego Jones that I also just look forward to joining everyone every day. And now before I had to frantically go up and down with my finger, my poor right index finger, like, who's talking? What's the name? Now, just by the voice, I know who is speaking. And that in itself is quite amazing if you think about it. We really don't know what we all look like, right? I normally have my profile picture, so I mean, I guess you know what I look like. But the majority of us don't even know each other's names, and yet we have really woven this beautiful fabric of love and caring and compassion and empathy. And I think also, as someone who was 9 when the revolution happened, and I was outside of Iran, but my father had all his family in Iran, just really noticing so much of the trauma that I, as a little girl, really tucked away. And it's all been surfacing these past 2 months. it's all been surfacing. To even have conversations about that and to have, as Darren always says, he's a black gay man from London, to offer rooms for us to just even talk about that, our feelings, and how we're coping with that. And all these allies like Munir, right? Munir, our friend from Pakistan, who's a Shia Muslim himself, and every single day comes in this room. There's so many that I just, I bow to all of you. I feel very connected, and it's been an honor so far, 50 days, 55 days with all of you. Much love, John. Thanks, Minute, for your lovely voice and your lovely, lovely words.
That was super good.
Oh yeah, all the time. We have probably sitting in the audience right now, and they try to derail even just with in the chat, they'll write stuff, and that's all fine, really, because this is one world. We have to make it with each other, guys, right? But yeah, they have their agendas. They come, they try to derail the process. And I have to say, it adds a nuance. It challenges me every day to rethink, and why do I think this? Where do I get my sources from? It challenges us to remain pure and to remain factual. And yeah, it's, if you say you want a democracy, if you want a secular government, if you want a lot for all, and then you can take it into the broader context. This room also very much is about just a freedom for all people in this world. Iran could very well be an example that could melt the whole Middle East. So yeah, I think it keeps you on your toes, and it's been very, very frustrating. I can say for myself, but also very, very enlightening, because we have to create a world where we can all find a place, right? So yeah, we have a couple of really smart ones here. They can manage these people, Eric. Like Tehran is one of them, Portogallos, Mali is one of them, Network is one of them. They can manage and go to this guy. Oh, sorry, I forgot Johnny, Marvin, that really, really good. And yeah, when they get here, I'm the shuttle, and I love me, I love that. But is we have a also that's Saleh and Harissa, and there is another one, Roxana. Oh gosh, she can go deep. Yeah, she wants it. She is wonderful. She knows what she has to say when she has to say. That's amazing. When she gets in the heated discussion. So they are, and they're really welcome to the room, as much as I know. They make a mess sometimes, and people clean it up. And then we go back to the normal and lovely room. So we start again, which is more welcome to be in the room as well. They have a place in the room.
Wow, that's amazing. Hi guys, can I ask Eric a question? By the way, this is awesome. Eric, first off, welcome to this room, and since I just heard that it's your first time right here. I think this with me another day, but not for much. But I'm just
wondering how much do you actually know about what has happened for the past 60 days? Do you know what really happened that triggered this much of a movement? It's not.
I really know very much outline a woman who was from a Kurdish nation was in the capital, and she ended up being killed after she was arrested by the morality police. I mean, only at a very high level that triggered all of the protests that include burning of the jobs and cutting their hair in public, and things that are putting them at tremendous risk, and it's terribly heroic. But that's virtually everything I know, so feel free to fill me in with much more than that.
Recording in progress. As the Democrats enter a lame duck period and await the results of a runoff Senate election in Georgia, it remains unclear how and when Manchin will try to reintroduce the dirty deal and attach it to must-pass legislation as he did in September. But it could happen before the end of the year. Meanwhile, many folks, including frontline organizers, are at COP27 in Egypt these last few weeks. And President Biden was also there talking about his historic commitments to climate action. He just so conveniently ignored the issue of environmental justice. He also conveniently ignored that agencies, including his agencies, are permitting more polluted oil and gas pipelines and export terminals that threaten the health and lives of frontline communities. He does a lot of boasting about the clean energy investments in the Inflation Reduction Act, but conveniently neglects to mention that it requires more oil and gas leasing on public lands and waters as a condition for renewable energy expansion. These are all things that will hurt our community that President Biden continues to uplift. Despite his promises to be a climate leader, and despite the fact that the people elected him on this promise, Biden is supporting fossil fuel expansion and waters on public lands and waters, and backing Senator Manchin's dirty side deal, falsely claiming that we need it for renewable energy, is completely false, and it really undermines so many of the things that his administration is trying to work towards in regards to environmental justice. We are here today to call out that hypocrisy and to demand that Biden and Congress listen to frontline voices, listen to environmental voices, and stop the dirty side deal. Keeping us hooked on fossil fuels is not the way to meet our climate goals, and it's going to impact people of color and people of low income first and worst. I'll kick it back over to Crystal. Thank you.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, Nadia, for that political update. I always love to hear you give those updates. So keep me current and let me know what's going on. So I'm gonna just tell you guys that this dirty deal, it impacts my community. Being from an indigenous community, the Occaneechi Band of the Saponi Nation, without having the Clean Water Act or even NEPA, the NEPA process is huge because it's how tribes are able to get consultation with organizations and governments and things like these crazy pipeline people. Without those protections helping us, we won't get to have our say. We won't get to be at the table. And also, here on the MVP Southgate in North Carolina, we were able to stop the petition with people as well as organizations, but we were able to successfully stop that with the Clean Water Act to deny their water permit. And without that, man, we couldn't have done it. And so we really need you guys to help us. So we're excited to be joined today by some amazing frontline leaders who are fighting to defend their communities from kinds of fossil fuel projects that could be fast-tracked under the dirty deal. So my friend Sonia Akivgak, I really hope I pronounced it right, is an INUPAC and Chicana communications coordinator and regional organizing for Sovereign INUPACs for a Living Arctic. Rochetta Ozane is a Healthy Gulfs community organizer for Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas, bringing communities together to stop the build-out of petrochemical and fracked gas export facilities in the region. Nadia Hutchison is the government affairs manager at WEACS for Environmental Justice, based in WEACS Federal Policy Office in Washington, D.C. She ensures that government agencies and elected officials learn about and are mobilized to act on environmental justice issues and concerns. And my friend Corn, who I met when I was doing the Red Road to DC, Pueblo of Laguna San Carlos Apache Dene Curacala Apache is a 27-year-old two-spirit person working and living in occupied Tiwa territory, which is Albuquerque for those colonizers. They are environmental justice organizer with Pueblo Action Alliance. And so now I'm just going to kick it over to Sunny. So go ahead.
Paglagipsi Wungarpuna. Hello, my Inupiaq name is Apruna, but my English name is Sonia Akivgak. My family is from Utqiagvik, Alaska, the northernmost city in the United States, and I work with Sovereign Inupiaq for a Living Arctic. We're a grassroots organization dedicated to environmental and cultural advocacy. Our people have called the Arctic home for millennia, and our cultural knowledge is based upon the experiences of our ancestors. But the Arctic is rapidly changing to the point that some of our practices are at risk of no longer being useful or possible. We use the permafrost as a kind of freezer cellar to keep our nikipiak, our traditional foods, frozen in what we call a sigluak. But as the permafrost melts, so much of our traditional knowledge and the food sources are at risk. And ConocoPhillips plans to continue the threat of Arctic melt and climate change by building the Willow Master Development Plan. Willow would necessitate huge investments into new infrastructure and lock us into production for another 30 years. Bixit, a predominantly Inupiaq village of less than 600 people, would be surrounded by oil development. The Willow project would not go into production for at least 6 years, and currently only 1% of jobs are being filled by Alaska North Slope residents, despite it being advertised as a job opportunity. Willow is undergoing a new permitting process being rushed through by the Department of the Interior and this new bill after its previous project authorizations were rejected in federal court for lack of environmental protections. The native village of Nuiqsut and the city of Nuiqsut are cooperating agencies that have requested for a new planning process and numerous changes to the project's design. The community has asked the department to allow them enough time to meaningfully comment and participate in the process, and their reasonable requests were refused without explanation. This is absolutely unacceptable. Any process to reconsider Willow must allow for robust engagement by the Nuiqsut community members and allow their voices to be heard. It should not be driven by ConocoPhillips' bottom line. And we urge the department and this new bill to honor its responsibilities to this community and its tribal council. We are at the brink of irreversible damage to the earth that will cause losses of jobs and homes, illnesses, and displacement of entire communities at rates we have never seen and we are not prepared for. The designation of land for development has historically negatively impacted Indigenous peoples, Black people, and peoples of color. The National Petroleum Reserve of Alaska has become a sacrifice zone. Recent studies have shown that the Arctic is warming at 4 to 5 times faster than the rest of the world. As oil is exported and sent around the globe, Indigenous communities in the Arctic are left to contend with the health impacts of pollution, as well as the devastation that comes from dramatic changes to the land like sea ice melt, permafrost thaw, and coastal erosion. There must come a point where human health, food security, environmental justice, and a functioning ecosystem come before corporate profit. The most impacted community by this project would be Nuiqsut, Alaska. This small rural area primarily relies on subsistence and has rich culture and connection to the land. This project greatly endangers these practices, food security, their physical and mental health, and their Inupiaq ways of life. For this reason, I advocate for the no action alternative, which is the only option that aligns with a safe climate and maintaining the health of these Arctic lands and waters for future generations. We need a just transition from an extractive industry that has held communities in an economic hostage situation for decades. The department is falling behind in its consideration of the Willow Project and its refusal to listen to the community most impacted. Locally, nationally, and globally, we cannot afford this climate disaster. Stop the Willow Project today, tomorrow, and forever. The Bureau of Land Management is currently in its post-comment period and will be releasing a final environmental impact statement within the next couple of months, followed by a record of decision. I urge you to stay up to date with stopwillow.org and sila'inuit.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sonia. So up next we have Roshetta. Hopefully she's still on.
Yes, thank you, Crystal. Hello, everyone. I apologize for not being on camera. I am currently in Egypt attending COP27, and it is 3:22 in the morning. But yes, I wanted to make sure that I got on this call, especially today, after FERC made the decision to approve Commonwealth LNG. We have worked so hard in my community to stop Commonwealth LNG from coming. That's from community members, landowners. We gave FERC a tour, and yet today they still decided in a unanimous 5-0 vote to approve Commonwealth LNG. Along with that, and being here at COP27 and listening to our elected officials constantly make empty promises and blame the other side for decisions that they have agreed on. I was in a meeting with Chuck Schumer's office, and they basically blamed the other side for having to, side with Manchin on his deal. But we know that Schumer made that decision on his own. So this dirty deal for my community would mean more fossil fuel build out in a community that's still struggling to restore and repair after hurricanes from 2 years ago, Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta. We still have people in FEMA trailers from those hurricanes, yet they are continuing to rubber stamp industries like Commonwealth LNG. We do not need this dirty deal. We went down to DC. We've invited folks to come to our community and see what we're dealing with. They make these promises, oh, we're going to do our best to keep the community statements in mind, keep the community in mind, keep these impacts in mind, yet they do the opposite. We need stronger NEPA regulations. That's the ask that we have. This bill is a criminal act. I made the point here at COP. If I was to go out and kill someone, I would go to jail for murder. But yet these industries continue to kill Black, brown, indigenous people of color, and they get away with it. They get these small fines that they have to pay for whatever they do, and they continuously get away with it. And our elected officials continue to give them the green light to do what they want to do in our communities. And enough is enough. Black, indigenous, people of color communities and the poor communities have been labeled a sacrifice zone long ago, and we can no longer be made a sacrificial lamb for industry. The industries that come into our community, they don't help us. Whenever I'm talking to community members, I ask them a simple question. How has this industry helped you since it's been here? If it has not helped you, what has it done for you? What have you noticed since this industry has been here? Everyone that I know knows someone with cancer. They've gone through some type of hurricane or some type of other climate-induced disaster that's caused by the industry. Those things are not made up. These are facts. We have the numbers. We have the facts to show what industry is doing to the communities, yet our elected officials continuously give them the green light to come into our community. After this election, again, just as with this COP27 and after the deal today, I'll admit that I was a bit downtrodden and a bit discouraged because it seems like we're fighting on the front lines every day. We're showing what's happening every day. People are literally losing their lives. We lost Joy. Joy lived in a community that was poisoned by industry. And we've lost so many who are breathing in toxic air, who are drinking dirty water. And it's like they don't care. They don't care about us because we are nothing to them. And they continuously show us that when they make these decisions. We cannot let this dirty deal pass. I mentioned earlier that I was in a meeting with Tim, who works for Senator Schumer's office. But meetings like that won't be possible if this dirty deal passes. The people's voices will not be heard. We will not get the opportunity to even make these cries for help. So imagine if we can't make our cries for help, if we're making the cries for help and they're not doing anything. Imagine if we can't make the cries for help, how much more will happen? But we just don't need this deal. We need stronger NEPA regulations. We need more of people in office, in Congress, in the Senate. We need them to come to our communities and see what we're dealing with, see what we're facing. Smell and breathe in the air that we're breathing. Drink the water that we're drinking. Listen to the many people who can tell you about their relatives who have cancer, who have died from cancer, when they have no family history of it. Folks who never smoked a cigarette, folks whose parents never had cancer, and yet you have 20 and 30-year-olds with cancer now. What is really going on? What is it going to take for the folks that we elect into office to say that they care more about us than dollars? The time is now. They could have really made a monumental moment out of saying no to Commonwealth today. Commonwealth is a project that's in its beginning stages. FERC could have said no to that, yet they rubber stamped it like other projects. If they're continuing to do this, imagine what they would do if this ideal is passed. We don't need it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Roshetta. Yeah, you're right. We need to go out and speak our voices and tell these elected officials, what's up. People are dying. So yeah, it's really sad. So up next, we're gonna hear from Corn. And Corn, you ready?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. I apologize for keeping my camera off, but I'm having some connection issues, so I'm hoping having my camera off helps with that. Hi, everybody. My name is Corn. I go by they, them pronouns today. I'm an environmental justice organizer with Public Action Alliance, and I'm based over here in Southwest United States, Southern Tiwa Territory, also known as Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm here to talk to you a bit about what we're dealing with here in the Southwest region, more specifically New Mexico, so-called New Mexico, where our territories are. So we're talking about the dirty deal. Like the speaker was saying before, the dirty deal consisted a lot of under the table, behind our back deals, which we're familiar with as Indigenous folks. It's always been done that way. It wasn't quite a surprise. But the number of communities that were going to be sacrificed and are sacrificed for the sake of quote unquote clean energy or energy at all in this country is just detrimental to everybody and everything. So here in the Southwest, one of the new things that's popping up all over the country and is soon to be in your neck of the woods that they're trying to pass off as clean energy in the Inflation Reduction Act and also in the dirty deals is hydrogen power, or what they call quote unquote clean hydrogen. There's no such thing as clean hydrogen, no matter what color it is. Here in the Southwest, Public Action Alliance and the No False Solutions Coalition we have formed down here stands firmly against any and all false solutions to mitigate climate change. We stand against all market-based solutions to mitigate climate change. And hydrogen is one of those. And you will see propaganda everywhere right now about clean hydrogen, but hydrogen is just not clean. It uses more fossil fuels to produce it. It's a crutch for the oil and gas industry here in New Mexico, where we're number 2 in the nation for domestically produced oil and gas. which we don't see any of here in New Mexico or even in the United States. So that's all exported. And so that's just one of the things we're dealing with. It's dirty. It's so much more polluting than just burning regular oil and gas or coal for energy. Like I said, continuation of the fossil fuel industry. So don't let them get into your areas. Here in New Mexico, we already defeated a few hydrogen legislations this year in 2022 for our state legislative session. And it's like a lot of frontline communities, a lot of indigenous communities that are continuing to be sacrificed for not only false solutions, but the continuation of oil and gas and leasing. We are at a point with the Biden administration where they promised to stop leasing here in our area for oil and gas, and still 91% of public lands in the greater Chaco region, which is a very historic and culturally sensitive place for Pueblo people, Diné people, and even Apache people here in the Southwest. 91% of those lands are leased to oil and gas. So those are public lands. Those are our lands that we should, have available to go take our kids on, go play on. But now they're just wells everywhere, fracking wells everywhere. You can go out in someone's backyard and there's a fracking well there. The amount of methane in the area of the Four Corners region of the United States, which is the greater Chaco region, is alarming. It's one of the biggest methane plumes in the entire world that we're living under. And these are like our children being raised there. These are our grandparents whose lives are at stake there. This is our lives. And we're all being sacrificed for the sake of energy that's getting dumped elsewhere. And it's here in New Mexico, we have a lot of young people who are on the front lines. One shout out I'd like to give is to the Youth United for Climate Crisis Action, which is the Yucca organization. They are an organization of young people who are just going hard here for climate action now here in New Mexico and all over. So we have our young people here on the front lines that are just holding it down for us and with us. And so here in New Mexico, we are also trying to make a change for public power and local choice power. So where we have the option to choose where we get our energy from, choose who's supplying our energy and how they're supplying it, and have our voices heard in like the energy sector grid. And we're also fighting for better consultation and even consent, especially consent in Native communities. So free, prior, and informed consent for any and all infrastructure projects that have to do with the fossil fuel industry and extractive industries here in the Southwest. We're, on our way to hit the 1.5 degree threshold sooner than expected. And it's a lot of young people who are growing up with just an immense amount of climate anxiety. So next time you see someone, a young person in your area who's throwing down for climate action now, who are just in there, in the work, in the movement, man, just give them a high five, give them a hug, give them words of encouragement, because climate anxiety is devastating right now. And I'd just like to finish off with just mentioning that New Mexico is number 2 in the nation right now for producing oil and gas domestically through like fracking. But we're also top 3 in the nation for wind and solar energy potential, which we have no real funding for. And it's all being funding that could potentially be going to like building our infrastructure for renewable energy here, like real renewable energy here in the Southwest, is being held hostage by Manchin's dirty deal, and even held hostage in the Inflation Reduction Act that already got passed. Like they were saying earlier, the IRA had a lot of climate deals in it, yes, but it also had a lot of devastating deals in it too that have to do with the oil and gas and fossil fuel industry, and a lot of communities are already being sacrificed in the name of the Inflation Reduction Act. Here in New Mexico, we just got done with some leasing scoping period for some of the leases for the oil and gas industry. So just keep a lookout. We'd love to have your support here in the Southwest for our No False Solutions Coalition, also for our Protect Greater Chaco Coalition. So you can find our websites in the chat, and you can visit Public Action Alliance's website along with following our social medias. Thank you.
Thanks, Corn, for that. Your wisdom is amazing, and I really like your water bag manifesto. That was beautiful. I learned about that last year. So we had a great lineup of speakers. And so, yeah, now the People versus Fossil Fuels Coalition has long demanded that Biden reject federal permits, new fossil fuel projects and exports, 2, end fossil fuel production on public lands and waters, and 3, declare a climate emergency to further shift off fossil fuels and boost renewables. Like, I don't understand why they are not doing that. This dirty deal makes our demands for Biden much harder to implement now that the midterms are over and Democrats have lost control of the House. The legislative path to more climate action is even more challenging than before. It's crucial that Biden step up and use his powers as president to do what Congress cannot do. We need to push Biden to take every action he can to stop the expansion of fossil fuels. That starts with making sure he withdraws his support for the dirty deal. I've called Biden out twice, and I'll call him out again. This zombie bill to gut environmental protections and fast-track fossil fuels has already come back to life once, and Senators Schumer and Manchin will keep bringing it back because they think our opposition will wane. They don't know us. If we're going to kill this bill again, we need to show Democratic leadership we're not going away. The most important thing we can do, show our elected officials that we're watching them and that we're deeply opposed to the dirty deal being attached to must-pass legislation. And we're stronger when we take all this action together. So please join us in taking action now. We have 2 action steps for you today, and I'm going to hand it over to Thomas, the National Organizer Manager at Food and Water Watch, to walk you through the first.
Awesome. Thanks, Crystal, and thank you everyone else for joining the call and for speakers so far. I've recognized a lot of names in the chat on the list of folks who were so critical in stopping the dirty deal in what I'm calling phase 1 of the fight, round 1. And we all took a lot of different actions together and in our districts and in our communities. But hopefully y'all remember that one of the most important things we can do is make a phone call to our members of Congress. That is, it's a simple thing to do, but it is extremely effective. We drove over 10,000 phone calls. That's just the ones that I was able to keep track of to members of the House and Senate during phase 1 of this fight. And we're gonna need to do similar things again. So first thing I wanted everybody to do is take out your phone. We're going to take 60 seconds now and do this all together. It's after hours. We can leave a voicemail. It's still really impactful. So dial the number on the screen. It's also in the chat. I'll say it aloud real quickly, but go ahead and grab your phone, make a quick call, and we'll all leave a message together. So the number to dial is 917-791-2257. You're going to hear a short recording. It might ask you for your zip code to connect to the right number. And so I'm going to mute myself for just a minute. Everybody make a call, and then we'll come back and talk about what else we can do.
Thank you for making calls with the People vs. Fossil Fuels Coalition. In a moment, you'll be prompted to enter your zip code to be connected to your representative's office. Once connected, please urge them to do all they can to block Senator Manchin's permitting reform proposals and stand with communities impacted by fossil fuels and the climate crisis. I will connect you now.
Please enter your 5-digit zip code using your phone's keypad now. We cannot automatically determine your representative. Please choose your representative from the following. For Representative David Price, press 1. For Representative Deborah Ross, press 2. If you are unsure or none of these are correct, stay on the line and we will transfer you to an operator. We are connecting you to the Capitol switchboard. Please ask for your representative.
Thank you everyone for making a call. I just left a message with my representative, Pramila Jayapal.
Hello.
Represents Seattle.
Hi, I'm looking to connect with Deborah Ross.
I'm sorry, with Deborah who?
Deborah-
You know whose office she's in?
Deborah Ross in North Carolina.
I left a message for her. I don't have anyone here by that name.
Oh, okay. Do you by any chance have Abe Jones or Dan Blue?
No, ma'am. They must be on the state level.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
That's awesome. So we probably just generated there's 200 plus people on the call, 200 calls to members of Congress. But like I said before, it took tens of thousands of calls to stop this deal before. So there's two other things that you can do. One, tonight, send a quick text message to 5 or 10 friends. Put this number, put this script in a text and say, hey, friends, take 60 seconds, do this quick thing, and call your rep. Their rep might be the same as your rep. They might be in a different district. All the calls and messages matter. So ask a few friends, 5 to 10 friends, to make a quick call. The other thing I'll ask y'all to do is to actually call supporters in really key states and districts and ask them to call their rep. We did this a lot in phase 1, and I see some folks who phone banked with us in phase 1. Food and Water Watch has a really simple tool where we have a list of our supporters in key states. So in round 1, we were calling folks in Illinois and New Mexico and Rhode Island and a handful of other states because those senators especially needed to hear a lot from their constituents. So you call somebody, there's a script and everything on the computer, and then you can transfer them directly to their representative or their senator. Really easy tool, and we were able to generate, like I said, hundreds and thousands of calls by getting more people to make a call. So the link that Emily put in the chat for phone banking, if you sign up there, you'll get all the information. You can do it on your own time, and it's a great way, again, to make sure that we get extra phone calls to the kind of top priority targets. The folks who did that in phase 1, hopefully they would tell you it was easy and fun and really impactful. Those are things to make sure we get a bunch of calls to Congress, and I think I'm going to pass it to Laurel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laurel. I use she, her pronouns. I'm with the 350 Network Council. And yeah, in addition to driving calls, let's get the goods by direct actions and letters to the editor. Good comrade Molly told me when we were sitting in at Senator Feinstein's office that organizing gets the goods, and I have just held onto that piece of nugget. These are just 6 different actions amongst a beautiful plethora that happened in the fall. We have letter deliveries on the top left at Representative Castor's office in Florida, executive directors participating in the nonviolent direct action in DC, rallies outside of Senator Schumer's office in New York, sit-ins at Senator Murray's office in Seattle, other demonstrations around the Capitol in DC, and a sit-in at Senator Feinstein's office in San Francisco. Again, these are just some samples of the amazing direct actions that happened and in-district action. And we're asking for that again. In the chat is both you'll see an action toolkit as well as a sign up for if you would like to host an action but would like some support from folks in the People vs. Fossil Fuels Coalition. We got you. Specifically, if you're curious about if your representative is a larger target. Other things to do maybe is just to encourage them to come out in support of come out in opposition, clear opposition to stopping the dirty deal, clear opposition to stopping fossil fuel projects at large is always the best. But if you know your representative is supportive, then a thank you goes a very long way to show, hey, we're still paying attention, we're still here, and we are committed to stopping this deal once and for all. The second thing you can do, which is, again, a little bit more of an investment, but really worthwhile, is writing a letter to the editor, which is best in local papers. And I know we have over 200 people on this call now from across this country and more. So we can get this message in a lot of local papers. If you've never done this before, again, check out the action toolkit that's available in the chat, and you will get instructions step by step on how to write a letter to the editor. And again, you can fill out the form if you would like more support or get connected to an organizer to help you out. And I know a lot of us also represent other organizations. We're here as individuals who can do these things, and we might be here with our local chapter or our local organization. So bring all of this back to your team, consult, partner with local groups in your area, and keep up the momentum. Thanks all.
So, gosh, that was really quick. Thank you all so much for joining our call today. Yeah, do we have a list of questions that were asked during the event? And Laurel, if you want to put some music on to send us home, I'll be glad to listen to Redbone again.
You got it, Crystal.
Take those actions, y'all.
The fuck is this shit?
All right, everyone. I saw some final questions and words of encouragement in the chat. The program is done. But for those who stuck around, we will send an email with the recording and the next steps and everything we went over tonight. So thank you all for taking the time to join us. And thank you, Crystal.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and I love y'all's energy. So let's keep up this fight, y'all.
Awesome. All righty. See y'all later.
Bye.
Recording stopped.